Let me ask you a question. And at first it might sound, well, completely ridiculous. But just stick with me for a minute, because this might be the most important question you're not asking yourself. We talk all the time about the fear of failure, right? But what if the real thing holding you back, the invisible code running in the background of your mind, is actually a deep-seated fear of success? Welcome to Smiling Cottage. And the reason I'm sharing this today is because this seemingly absurd question might be the most important one you're not asking. You see, the really interesting thing is, this fear never just walks up and introduces itself. No, it's a master of disguise. It shows up looking like responsible, everyday behavior. It's that voice telling you to procrastinate just a little bit longer. That feeling that you need to prepare just a bit more before you can start. That convenient excuse that, the timing just isn't quite right. Or, and this one is baffling, that sudden loss of interest in a project you were on fire for just yesterday. Does any of that sound familiar? To really understand this, let's look at an ancient story. There was a prophet named Jonah. God gives him this clear, incredibly important mission. Go to the city of Nineveh and deliver a message. I mean, what a huge opportunity, right? A divine calling. And what does Jonah do? He immediately turns around, gets on a ship, and sails in the exact opposite direction. He literally runs away from his own destiny. Now, this isn't just some old story. The legendary psychologist Abraham Maslow saw this exact pattern in all of us, and he gave it a name, the Jonah complex. He defined it as the evasion of our own greatness, the fear of becoming everything we could possibly be. It's that impulse to run for the ship sailing the other way, right at the moment our Nineveh is within reach. And this quote just brilliantly illustrates the core conflict. Maslow himself said, "We fear our highest possibilities." There's a part of us that gets a thrill from thinking about our potential, but another part just shivers with weakness, awe, and fear right in front of it. So if you've ever felt that, I want you to know it's not some personal flaw. It's a fundamental part of being human. Another psychologist, Otto Rank, he took this idea even further. He said we're all caught between two primal, contradictory fears. On one hand, there's the fear of death, and not just dying, but the fear of being insignificant, of just disappearing into mediocrity. But on the other hand, we have the fear of life, the fear of being truly seen, of actually standing out from the crowd. And most of us, we're just stuck, paralyzed right in the middle of this crazy tug-of-war. So what is it about success that's so terrifying? Well, the first hidden fear is this: you lose the right to be invisible. Right now, you can kind of hide in the crowd. You can experiment, you can fail quietly, no big deal. But the moment you achieve something significant, a spotlight just clicks on. Suddenly you're on a public stage, open to admiration, sure, but also to envy, to criticism, and to attack. The second fear is even more subtle. When you succeed, you permanently lose your excuses. Think about it. Right now, you have this psychological safety net. You can tell yourself, oh, I could totally do that, I just haven't really tried yet. Or the conditions just aren't perfect. But once you succeed, that net is gone. You've proven you can do it. So what happens if you try again and fail? You can't retreat to that comfortable excuse anymore. It's gone. And the third fear? This might be the biggest of all. Success forces you to change. It changes your lifestyle, your relationships, your very identity. And even if you're not totally happy with who you are right now, at least that person is familiar. Success pushes you into this unknown territory where you have to become someone new, someone you don't fully recognize yet. And honestly, that is terrifying. So to protect you from these fears, your own Jonah complex quietly runs these little self-sabotage programs in the background. Think about suddenly losing all your motivation right when you're about to cross the finish line on a huge project, or manufacturing a crisis, like starting a big fight right before an important meeting. Or maybe you know you're capable of A+ work, but you turn in a C- effort because, let's face it, the expectations for a C- performer are way, way lower. Okay, so why is this pullback so powerful? There's an amazing model from physics that explains it perfectly, the Second Law of Thermodynamics. Now stay with me. It basically says that any system that's left to itself will naturally move towards a state of greater disorder, or what scientists call entropy. To create and maintain order, you have to constantly put in energy. Now think of your comfort zone as that high entropy state. It might be messy and unsatisfying, but it's stable. It doesn't require a lot of energy to maintain. Success, on the other hand, is a state of low entropy. It's ordered, it's structured, it's powerful. But maintaining that order requires a continuous, daily input of energy. Your Jonah complex is basically just physics in action, always trying to pull you back to that easier, low-energy state of disorder. This force is powerful, almost like a law of nature. You're not going to eliminate it, but you don't have to be controlled by it. So the crucial question becomes, how do you learn to tame your inner Jonah? It's really a three-step process. First, you have to name the fear. The next time you feel yourself pulling back, just stop and ask, am I afraid of failing here, or am I actually afraid of succeeding? A lot of times, just shining a light on it is enough to pause the program. Second, shrink the idea of success. You're not trying to become a famous author. You're just going to write one sentence. Make the next step so ridiculously small that your fear doesn't even notice it. And third, expect the regression. Know that after you take a step forward, a force will try to pull you back. It's not a personal failure, it's just physics. So I want to leave you with this final thought. That feeling of fear, that urge to run for the ship, sailing in the other direction, it is not proof of your weakness. It is proof of your power. It only shows up because deep down, you vaguely sense that you are capable. And that knowing, that is what truly terrifies you. All right, that's a wrap for this episode. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who needs it. This is Smiling Cottage. I'm Bright. See you next time.